The United States is a meat-eating nation with an average annual consumption of 130 kilograms of meat per person. That number is roughly equal to a Chinese person, 73 kilograms per year, plus a Japanese person, 50 per year, and another Indian person, 5.7 per year combined. In America's slaughterhouses, about 1 billion chickens, 130 million pigs, and 95 million cattle are turned into meals each year. Even in just a single Thanksgiving, 46 million turkeys are invited into the oven to celebrate the holiday with Americans. All of this is enough to show Americans' obsession with meat. But at the same time, this vast land, built by immigrants, is skilled at melting diverse cultures into one pot. Thus, on America's dining table, a series of unique, blended, and sometimes downright imaginative meat dishes were invented. And today, what we're going to talk about are their stories. It's said that the American population has three major pillars: about 12% Irish ancestry, around 14% English ancestry, and taking up a full 17% are those of German descent, whether wholly or partly. So these descendants of meat-loving Germanic people have undeniably become a key force in shaping America's food trends. When it comes to iconic dishes on German-American tables, there's the king of slow-braised meats, Sauerbraten, Germany's ancestral marinated roast beef, and Schweinebraten, pork shoulder or pork chops roasted with the skin on, usually served with mashed potatoes. Even the cheap and popular meatloaf, which rose to fame during the Great Depression and later became one of President Nixon's favorites, is deeply connected to Germany. However, if we're talking about the dish jointly created by German and American culture that became the biggest star, we must mention the #1 superstar of the fast food industry worth billions of dollars, the hamburger. As for the origin of the hamburger, it's actually simple. To put it in one sentence, Germans created the Hamburg, and Americans put it into a burger. The core of the dish originally came from the German frikadelle, ground meat patties. Later, in the 19th century, due to large numbers of German immigrants, many restaurants in New York added it to their menus. Dishes similar to meatballs began to appear one after another, made from hand-chopped beef tenderloin, lightly smoked and salted, served with onions and bread, but given the exotic-sounding name Hamburg steak. According to the most popular explanation, in the year 1900 in New Haven, Connecticut, at Lewis's Lunch, the head chef and owner, Louis Lassen, was pressured by an impatient customer. So he took the first Hamburg steak and placed it between two slices of sandwich bread. Thus, the food Americans find the most delicious and most iconic, the hamburger, was accidentally invented. And thanks to this legendary origin, Lewis's Lunch still stands strong in America's food scene today. Its most popular item is still that very first original hamburger. The owner even had a batch of 19th century cast iron grills custom made to cook hamburger patties exactly the way they used to. Its toppings include only cheese, tomato, and onion. Our hamburgers are the sacred standard of the hamburger world. The ancestors' recipe may not be changed. If you dare add ketchup or mayonnaise here, I'll throw you out myself. Aside from the hamburger, another gift German immigrants brought to the American dining table was all kinds of sausages. Unfortunately, the rough and ready Americans did not bother giving each type a separate name. They simply lumped them all together under one baffling name, hot dog. As for the exact origin of the word hot dog, just like many things in America, its answer has long been lost in cross-border evolution and cultural blending. But one thing is certain, long before the word hot dog became famous, German immigrants were already using Dachshund, the long, thin sausage dog, as slang for German sausages. Among the many stories about how the name appeared, the most interesting one says that in 1901, inside Yankee Stadium in New York, a vendor shouted loudly, encouraging spectators to buy his Dachshund sausages while they were still hot. And coincidentally, among the crowd was a sports cartoonist named Tad Dorgan. He wanted to draw a cartoon based on the scene. But this guy forgot how to spell once he picked up his pen, since he wasn't sure how to spell Dachshund. So in his cartoon, He simply abbreviated it for the first time as hot dog. But anyway, long story short, even if Americans were a bit casual when it came to naming, their love for hot dogs is passionate and real. Today, Americans consume 20 billion hot dogs a year. On average, that's 60 hot dogs per person. Americans even built an entire cultural industry around it, including holidays, competitions, mascots, and even a council. They also stuffed things like mashed potatoes, macaroni, instant noodles, and even breakfast cereal into the gap between bun and sausage. They tossed everything in there at once. And even if you separate the classic duo and let the hot dog sausage appear alone, America still has a true classic, old-school fairground street food, the corn dog. It first appeared around 1940 at the Texas State Fair. A hot dog sausage is skewered on a stick, coated in a thick layer of corn batter, then deep-fried into a snack that looks like a corn cob. Its status is roughly equal to grilled sausage on Chinese streets. You can find corn dogs, freshly cooked or frozen, in almost any convenience store or amusement park across North America. And in recent years, Americans even added a layer of rich cheese between the crispy corn batter and the grilled hot dog, an upgraded version, making corn dogs even harder to resist. As one of the world's leading meat-eating nations, in American food culture, German immigration dishes are certainly not the only stars. For example, on the east coast of the United States, there is a famously salty, yet shockingly delicious hardcore traditional dish. It was once widely known in rural America as a famous meat dish, Virginia country ham. Around the 17th and 18th centuries, European immigrants began settling in large numbers across Virginia, Kentucky, and Tennessee. During those early, back-breaking pioneer days, the first Americans on this land borrowed curing techniques from England and Spain and combined them with the region's cold, humid winters, eventually creating the earliest Virginia ham, made from fresh pork hind legs, heavily packed in coarse salt to draw out moisture, then slowly smoked over hickory or applewood. From the moment it was invented, Virginia ham became the key source of protein for hardworking settlers, especially during Thanksgiving and Christmas. For breakfast, people fried thick ham steaks. At noon, they sliced it thin to make sandwiches. And by evening, a large pot of ham and vegetable stew would be simmering at home, waiting for the men to return. Back then, nearly every household raised pigs and cured their own ham. Later, to match the distinct flavor of Virginia ham, Americans even invented a special sauce, red-eye gravy, made from butter, flour, and coffee. Of course, in modern times, if you know anything about U.S. meat consumption, you'll know pork is no longer the star it once was. Today, Americans eat around 20 kg of pork per year, only third place. It's behind beef at 25 kg and nowhere close to chicken, which exceeds 50 kilos per person. And speaking of chicken, there is a true oddity in Southern BBQ culture, famous nationwide for its snowy white color and tangy sweetness, Alabama white sauce. Its story begins in the 1920s with a BBQ craftsman named Bob Gibson. While every BBQ sauce in America was based on red, tomato-style recipes, he decided to break the rules. Alabama white sauce. In the 1920s, Alabama produced a BBQ craftsman who treated grilling like an art, Bob Gibson. Back then, nearly all American BBQ sauces were rooted in tomato-based red sauces. But Bob Gibson insisted on going the opposite direction. After countless experiments, he finally invented a mayonnaise-based sauce blended with salt, pepper, chili, horseradish, lemon juice, apple cider vinegar, corn syrup, and other ingredients, becoming a unique white-colored signature sauce. It quickly became famous across Alabama. His descendants kept the secret recipe and continued building a BBQ legacy. On the company's website, one sentence is emphasized again and again. Every chicken we cook is drenched generously in the perfect sauce passed down from Grandpa. Beyond Alabama white sauce, the U.S. has another iconic dish built on the power of sauce and meat, the ancestor of dipped sandwiches, the French dip. Although it boldly carries the word French in its name, it is in fact 100% American. The word French only refers to the use of long French-style bread. The dish is simple. Thin slices of hot roast beef tucked into a glossy French roll, then dipped into seasoned beef broth. Au jus. Each bite is rich, juicy, and full of beefy aroma. No true meat lover can resist it. The French dip originated in 1908 in Los Angeles, the City of Angels. As for the inventor, 2-century-old restaurants both claim the honor. Felipe's says one of their sandwiches accidentally fell into a pot of meat broth, and the delicious idea was born. Coles insists their ancestors created it to help an elderly customer with weak teeth enjoy roast beef. Although both restaurants argue their case, they've somehow maintained a rare balance: friendly rivalry, classic menus, and unique origin stories. And honestly, after so many years, the real answer is lost to history, and it hardly matters. Because Los Angeles loves this sandwich so much that the market easily supports both shops. In the end, they simply share the glory, each with half the kingdom.